Hello everybody, I am that dude with a beard. I have a beard, and you don't. I decided I'm going to take a rather in-depth look at a movie that I just recently watched, and a movie I'm sure that a lot of people regard as the magnum opus of John Carpenter. What is it? The 1982 film, The Thing. I'm going to have to start off with a little backstory about the film, because I think it's a pretty good idea to talk about it. First off, the film is actually considered a remake of a 1950s movie. But if you already do that, don't worry about it, because I won't get into that just yet. Because that movie was also kind of sort of adapted from Who Goes There, a novella written by a science fiction writer. I'm sorry I had his name written down, but I misplaced it. Shoot. Anyway, the novella did pretty well. It was actually a very unique character study about identity, paranoia, and mistrust. However, the 1951 movie was about an alien being an alien escaping from his icy prison and then going on to attack everybody. The 1950s movie wasn't particularly violent or gory. It did have some unique scenes, but the reason why it's so famous is because it was the start of the Alien versus Us trilogy. Everyone knows that there's films, but this one's aren't at all. The movie has become a classic in every sense. It has some great moments, some great acting, and it has a few bits of comedy here and there. But the movie does have some problems, ranging from the monster. Well, it is interesting. It's not really what it was in the book. It also has the standard evil genius character who says, "I want to be the villain. We will take over the world and stop digga-digga-digga-doo." And the creature doesn't have a whole lot of killings. And the comedy is not all that great. But not to say it's not a great movie. If you like the movie, I suggest picking it up in the nearest DVD store or looking it up on Amazon. So a couple of years later, well, 30 years later to be exact, Carpenter was approached by Hollywood to direct a new movie called The Thing. He was initially hesitant, but after thinking about it, he decided to, since he was a huge fan of the original movie. He decided to create it more towards the original novella. So, because Hollywood was so nice this time around, it gave him a much longer time to develop his movie in production. It became the longest time for him to develop the movie, and thus, it's a much more well-written, well-developed piece than any other of his films. So here's a very brief synopsis of the film. It opens to a few Norwegians hunting down a dog. The dog runs away and makes its way towards an American outpost, with many superb actors such as Keith Davids, Wilford Brimley, and Kurt Russell. They eventually see the Norwegians shooting at the dog, but unfortunately the Norwegians, because they speak a different language, don't really get the point across. They manage to kill the last Norwegian, who shoots one of their own by mistake. So, they're left to wonder why the Norwegians did what they did. A few of them leave and learn that there was some really weird shit going on. And now, with the dog, they're all kind of unsettled. The most important one to be unsettled is most notably Bennings, who demands that the dog be put in the kennel. When they're put in the kennel, it transforms into a grotesque alien creature. And of course, this brings out one of the very first horrific moments in the film. All of them come in to check it out and kill the creature. And it's revealed that Blair now has an understanding of the creature. It is an assimilator. It assimilates to what it needs to be. A creature that can just blend in anywhere, into anyone. And so, the film quickly changes pace from being a stock thriller movie to, oh my god, which one are you? Are you the alien, or are you you? And if you are you, then if you're not the alien, then which one of them are the aliens? But if they're not the aliens, how do we know you're not the alien? Because you have memories. Or do you? It's a very deep next couple of hours as we learn that the creature starts to do crazy shit, ranging from eating some guy's arms, to chopping down on a few heads, and even having one of the scariest scenes in the history of the universe. And it all comes down to a relatively brilliant ending with Childs, played by Keith David, and Kurt Russell talking to each other in a sort of uneasy truce. It's a unique movie, sure, but the big point of the film that is very unique is the idea of isolation, paranoia, and distrust. It's a very deep movie for these reasons alone, and which caused the film to be so interesting. John Carpenter did a great job at citing just how important all of these things affect our daily lives, especially when we're in a place such as Antarctica. Antarctica is definitely an alien world to us, especially people who live in the city. Antarctica is more alien than probably anything else on the world, aside from beneath the sea. It's very barren, has very little out there, and when it is barren, it still is unforgiving and very, very difficult to traverse. It's quite easy to see why they would why the original writer picked this place. Aside from that, the whole point of the film is definitely the paranoia. When people learn that the creature can transform into different people, they start to wonder who is the real one. At first, it comes as a red herring, but as time goes on, we begin to see things that do in fact uncover who is and who isn't the creature. It's a unique take on it, but still the paranoia rises. A lot of people start turning on each other, and those who turn on each other start to feel as if they are an alien or not. They wonder if the alien can implant memories and make them think they're alien. It's a unique take on this, yes, but the problem is the film was too dark for its time period. But I'll get to that in a little bit. Probably by far the biggest thing the film was known for is definitely the gore scenes, or should I say the transformation scenes. The transformation scenes are the most, well, over the top, and it's just easy to see why. Carpenter did a great job at having puppeteering, robotics, and any other sort of organic way of special effects. It's easy to see why many people consider him to be a superb director. But at the same time, a lot of people wonder if this was a good idea. Why didn't he wait to have CGI effects? Well, simple. With it being there, people can react. In fact, it was such a humongous build-up throughout the entire film to see what it really looks like that you don't. And that was another creepy thing. Sort of like Alien, how you never saw it until the very end of the film. You are always like, oh, I wonder what it looks like. I wonder what it looks like. Oh, okay, that's what it looks like. This one, you never know. It might look like a dog at first, but then it transforms into a human, then a spider, then into anything. Really, it's supposed to show you how your imagination can truly become a haunting for you. However, despite many people loving this film, critics and audiences hated it when it first came out. Critics found it to be nothing more than a gore fest and called it porno. It was a humongous flop in the box office, and Carpenter took his loss like a huge deal. And it was a huge deal for him. This was considered his magnum opus of filmmaking, and is also considered to be culturally significant nowadays. And with that, there have been a lot of people who understand the reasoning behind this, especially since video, DVDs, and Laserdisc sales increased its popularity immensely. And Carpenter loves his fans for that reason alone. The fact that they stood by him was great. And I can't help but feel that it's all of our love for his movies that make him want to direct more. And with the prequel coming out in October, I have to say that I am looking forward to it. I can admit that it might not be as good as the original, but that's okay. I can forgive the film for looking different, and I can forgive it for using CGI. From what I can tell, it's going to be very similar, and most likely the main female character is going to have to die, because there are 2 men at the beginning of this film. So, all in all, I'm going to have to say it. Stephen King. Man, am I an idiot. John Carpenter's the thing. It's a perfect 10 out of 10. I'd say this is a recommended movie for any horror fan. And if you're not a horror fan, then you don't know John. Plus, I met him at Monster Mania this year. So, see you later, guys.